Hello, everyone. Welcome to December. We are now at the end of the semester, and we are down to our last two authors, and we're going to go through those this week. You'll be happy to know that since it's the end of the semester, and I know you've got other classes, and you've got final exams, and you've got final projects and stuff, I've actually backed off the workload for you this week for the rest of the semester. And so these last two authors will be the last two authors, and you actually have from today until next Thursday to get the exam that I've got for you done, which is only going to cover the 20th century. So it's going to cover that last textbook that we've got. I do have a study guide for that exam in the week 15 folder, and you can use that to help you get ready for this last exam. I should, in the next couple of days, have the final grades on any of the essays and the quizzes that are in the drop boxes and stuff that I've not completed yet. So if you're behind, time's up. You need to go ahead and get caught up now because we are at the end. So basically the 20th century exam, you still need to read both these authors because I have questions about them, and I have, like reading questions about their works, and of course quotations from them as well. So let's start with Zadie Smith. You probably will be happy to know that we've read lots of dead authors over the past 15 or 16 weeks. Both of this week's authors are still alive and well, and they're still very young women. So we'll start with Zadie Smith. And she wrote a short story here, which is a part of a much larger book, and the short story is called The Waiter's Wife. The waiter in this case is a Bangladeshian immigrant to England, and the wife also is Bangladeshian, and she came to England with him. And she's got other family in England as well, like a niece, and she's got some good friends and so on and so forth. Zadie is interesting because even though she was born in London, she had a British father, so like an English father, and she had a Jamaican mother. So Jamaica at one time was a property of England. What has happened is that a lot of these countries that have been set free from England, some of those residents are immigrating to England to find a better life. And so Zadie Smith's mother was one of those from Jamaica, and she met and fell in love with, an English guy, and they got married, and Zadie, of course, is their daughter. So, in The Waiter's Wife, you've got the Bangladeshian couple, and then you've got another interracial couple named Archie and Clara, and the problem is that Samad, he has all this education, he has all this work experience, but the only job he can get in England is waiting tables. And to be honest, he's not very good at it. In fact, there's another character in there who's upset because what the restaurant does is they pool all the waiters' tips, and everybody gets an equal share. And the guy that's making the most money for everybody is upset because, people are taken from him. Whereas if it wasn't for that system, Zadie's husband, or not Zadie's husband, Samad, who is Alsana's husband, would be going broke. So, note also that the only reason Samad has this job is because a relative of his owns the restaurant that he works at. So you got all that going on. And then you've got the whole feminist angle. We've got two pregnant women in here who are telling the younger girl, hey, marriage is oppressive and so on and so forth. So pay attention to that kind of stuff, and note what they're going to name the kids as well. So that'll be something to take note of. So, The Waiter's Wife is about the struggles of an immigrant couple who does have family in England, but the struggles they have just to make ends meet, despite the fact that Samad is actually a very experienced and very intelligent older man. Then we've got the next author here. And the next author, I'm going to only say her name one time because it's difficult to pronounce. It's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. That's it. So I'll just call her Adichie from this point on. She was born in Nigeria, and she has immigrated from Nigeria to both the United States and England. In fact, she actually has degrees from Yale and from Johns Hopkins. Those are both very prestigious schools, and so to have a degree from one of them is something. To have a degree from both of those is just astounding. She is a young lady who found success early in life, mainly through her writing. In addition to writing short stories, she also writes essays. In fact, her most famous one is Why We Should All Be Feminists. And if you really like Adichie in this week's reading, then you might want to check that essay out as well. I think you'll find that it is one that is widely read and one that has generated a lot of discussion. So, she writes a lot about women's rights and about the hopes and dreams of the African immigrants looking to find a better life in either America or in England. In this story, it takes place in England. I mean, after all, this is a British literature course, so naturally the story that I have to choose and that got chosen for the anthology takes place in England. And it's about a young man who has immigrated to England from Angola, and he can't stay. He's only on like a student visa. So he tries to buy his way into citizenship by borrowing another man's social security number, which they don't call social security number in England. They call it the national security number. But he tries to buy that, and he tries to have a marriage set up through a marriage broker to a British citizen so that he can stay because he's married to a British citizen. And this is about the hardships he faces of that, the amount of money he has to shell out for that, and whether he can stay or not, despite his efforts. So that is another story about the struggles of an immigrant trying to stay in England, even though authorities don't want him there anymore. So we got Zadie Smith, we've got Adichie, both alive and well, both very talented young ladies, and I think that you will enjoy these readings because of the fact that they are more contemporary and the fact that they are very applicable, and they are discussions that people are having not just in English classes but everywhere about immigrants and the rights of immigrants and so on and so forth. So those are your last two readings. Make sure that you go through the study guide, make sure you read the readings and understand them, take that 20th century test, and as soon as you take that 20th century test, if you've done all the other essays and quizzes, you're done for the semester. So I'll come back and make another video for next week.